All right, welcome back. We just did a virtual cheers. I have a white blend this evening. What do you have, Steph?
I have my favorite. I'm a Riesling girl, and this happens to be my absolute favorite, which is, oh yeah, of course, can't remember the name of it. I'll think of it somewhere through the
It'll
conversation.
be like, blue, this is what it is.
Yeah, this is what it is.
Well, regardless, bottoms up.
Bottoms up.
This is officially our third episode of Locals That We Love. So, Steph, again, we talked to Scott earlier and Chris from Misha Aesthetics, and Steph is
Two of
one
my
of,
favorite people.
oh my God, literally.
Yes.
Steph is one of our guests also at the salon who is a small business owner, just like we are. And she specializes in travel, whether you are looking to book a cruise, which Steph has helped us, our family, with. And she did an amazing job. I can't even begin to tell you. As far as that's concerned, I know she deals with Norwegian and Royal Caribbean, but I know that she's also able to do Disney or anything that might be tickling your fancy. Look at this sun. It's like, woo, I'm going to have to go like this.
The joys of home lighting, you know?
Yes. So, Steph, tell me a little bit about yourself, the company that you provide or the services that you provide, what maybe got you started. Give us all the juicy bits.
All the juicy bits. Um, I actually started this little adventure. It will be May 13th of 2013 is when I signed my very first independent agent contract. At that point in time, it was a company that was called Magical Mouse Plans. And I had met the owner of this company on a Disney cruise. So it was one of those things where, gosh, why don't I take all this knowledge and help other people? Because everybody always came to me for so many things anyway. You know, and it was, I was the Disney lady, or I was the cruise lady, or, you know, I have an entire PDF of that's stored on my computer because still I get messages from people going, what did you put for your educational trip form for your trip to Disney? And I kept
That's
them all these years.
the first time I ever had to fill one of those out. I nearly crapped my pants because I was like, what do you mean this has to be an educational vacation? Like, granted, of course, there's always education in everything, but it was my first time with my oldest going to school and having to request off. And then I'm like, oh my God, it's already paid for. What do I do if they say no? So, like, there's all these things. So, like, stuff like that is so important.
And I have all the way from kindergarten through his senior year. I have them all, every single, just to, because it was very fun to watch over the years what the different, things were. And then, of course, there were some of them that I just got sassy, and it was just like, we need to get away from the rain and go to the sunshine. Now, granted, I know a lot of the administration, so if you'd like, oh God, Steph. But it's fun. It's fun. So I started, that was a year actually, 2012 is when I got really good at those, because I was kind of way past the limit with Julian. So I got really good at that, but I can always find something educational about a cruise. And there really truly is something always educational for kids about a cruise. It may not seem like it, but there's so many things to learn, whether it's a cruise or whether it's going to Disney. And one of the Disney World is, think about Epcot. I know it's one of yours of my favorites.
Food
But,
and wine, food and
food
wine.
and wine, yes. But think about how much there is for kids to learn about the different countries, truly. So there's that side of it. So anyway, I signed my first contract in May, and I was still working a full-time job at that point. And I was just going to do it part-time. And then I had been working for a telecom company for 7 years, and I got extremely burned out, and I accidentally quit one day.
Accidentally.
Whoopsie. So I really started doing this full time October of, I guess it would have been 14 or October of 15. I don't know. I got really serious about it, one point in time. I went from that job to another one. So I guess it was like the end of 16. I got really, really serious about it. 13 to 14. It was 14, whatever, doesn't matter. So I've been doing this a long time. And one of the things that I always use is my personal experience. You know that because you've dealt with me as a travel agent.
Absolutely.
So I think that's one of the things that makes me different about other travel agents is that I do and make recommendations based on, truthfully, my mistakes. The mistakes that I as a consumer made in the past, I don't allow my clients to make. So
I've
that's
seen I've seen a meme floating around, and I'm pretty certain you were the one who posted it, and it was something to the effect of like using a travel agent to book your cruise or booking it by yourself, but then it's like staying under the all-night disco or something like
that
that.
is one of mine. That is
Yeah.
one of mine that I've done.
Yeah.
Yes. And
So like
that's
it's huge, like of course we can go on all these travel sites, the discounted ones or whatever. You might think they're discounted, but they might not actually be in the long term, and so we can certainly, be awake at 2:30 in the morning and book things because guilty.
I
Or
get
anyone
those from you.
who has ever dealt with me that's a travel agent. But when you're doing it on your own versus utilizing someone who specializes in booking vacations, there are those huge challenges that you don't even realize, like, oh shoot, we can do this and it's only $119 a night, whereas a suite or a family whatever might be $300-400 a night. So you're like, yes, let's do this, and then the next thing you know, you're underneath whatever that's going to be making loud music all night long, or maybe you're right above the engine room and there's all these like mechanical sounds that you have to listen to.
Yep. I have, I think one of the just perfectly stupid mistakes I ever made, and I use this with clients all the time, is it was less expensive for us to book 2 cruises back to back, a 3-night and a 4-night, to make a 7-night for New Year's one time. It was less money than what it was to just book a straight up 7-night on a different ship. Wow, let's do this. Let's save some money. Okay. Well, I'm going to go deck 10 midship. It's it. Yeah, we're right under where everybody walks. Everybody walks. It's like, because everybody's like, oh, I want to be deck 10. No, you don't. No. You always want to be on deck 9. And the whole back-to-back thing was not all that cool either for a 3-night and a 4-night, because you have to get off the ship. At the end of the 3-night, you have to get off ship. Now, you're escorted back on a whole bunch of stuff. That's great. But it's the same cruise. So instead of 3 nights, it's 4 nights. So you've got all the same menus. You've got all the same this. You've got all the same that. It's really just busted up. And it's like, no, that's not fun. And I had a client that wouldn't listen to me, right? She's like, no, I want to do this. I'm like, no, you don't. You really don't.
Turns out you really don't.
Yep. She came back from the cruise and she said, oh, I really shouldn't have done that. I was like, Cha, I tried to tell you that you don't want to do that. But I think it's fun, and the rewarding part truly is too, as you know, when we travel a lot as a family, I post a lot of stuff. I post everything. And I have a couple philosophies about that of, I kind of document it for me, to be honest with you. It's a documentation for me when I go back through my Facebook and that type of thing. But I try to let my clients see firsthand what they can do on certain cruises. And it's like we did, I think you'll just start laughing with this. So when we did our Greek Isles and, all that, I had people that literally came back and, I want to do what you just did. So this summer, I know somebody that did that. Don't know who that is. But that to me is kind of like the biggest form of flattery, is that I've given people, this is what it can be, this is what you can do. And I actually build relationships with the tour guides that I book, whether it's Hawaii or Croatia or Slovenia. Greece. I have my guy, I call him my Greek guy.
Who doesn't want a Greek guy?
Who doesn't want a Greek guy? He's awesome. So when I have clients that are going to go do, so then they say, okay, well, geez, we want to do that. We want to do that too. We want to do what you did. Well, I have these relationships built with these vendors. And so I know that they'll be able to have the same awesome experiences I did. And conversely to that, if I take a tour and I don't like it, I'm not going to recommend it to my clients because I'm picky.
For sure.
So I think that's one of the neatest things to do is share my experiences with people through my social media, so that they can see what you can actually do. It's not, some people have a misconception about cruises or misconception about going on vacation to certain countries or doing certain things. So if I can show my clients these the types of things you can do, and oh, by the way, I've done them, so I know what to do or what not to do or how to make it better, then I think that ties back into what you were saying about the fact of, I'm not going to let you book a 3 and a 4 night back to back, and I'm not going to let you book, deck 10 midship, because you're going to hear chairs scrunching across the deck all the time, right? Yep, that's pretty much it, right? With the kids running back and forth. So I think that makes me different than a big box store, so to speak.
For sure. So I know, and I don't want to necessarily say that Julian's grown up on a cruise ship, because I don't think that's true per se. But the fact that you've traveled as a family for umpteen years, and you've been able to provide schooling for your child, you've been able to provide experience, culture, all of these things. Can you tell me a little bit about the amenities for kids who maybe are, 10 and under versus 10 and up on a cruise ship?
That's kind of the neat thing. And yeah, you are. I mean, I could easily say my son has grown up on a cruise ship. He has an obscene number of cruises under his belt. And he started with, we started with Disney. Our first 20 plus cruises that we did as a family were all on Disney. Us cruising on different cruise lines is, as he has gotten a little older, we were branching out. And that's the differences between sometimes with cruise lines. Are you going for the ship? Are you going for certain things? Or are you going for the destination? Is it about the ship or is it about the destination? Mm-hmm. What you and I are kind of talking about now is kind of sort of the destination part of it. But when they're younger, you really can't beat Disney for a lot of things for the younger kids, like you said, kind of like younger than what your girls are. They start at Disney with the different clubs that are, and they break them up in age groups. So there's great clubs on all the cruise ship lines, quite frankly. Disney's going to be the king of the kids club, period, no, hands down. There's no way to sugarcoat this. They are the king of kids clubs. As they get older, I think that's a time sometimes where you can branch out to other cruise lines if your kids are totally into kids clubs. But they provide all kinds of fun stuff on the cruise ship for kids. And it also, I think with cruises, and you can attest to this because you go to Disney as well as you do cruising. So with cruising, it's 3 parts. There's the kid part, they do their thing. Mm-hmm. There's the adult part, you get to do your thing. And then there's that part in the middle that are the family things. And I think that's sometimes what I love most about cruising, and what we as a family have loved about cruising from the very beginning was kid time, parent time, together time. We kind of did that before we even started cruising. When Julian was younger, we started staying, we did this 2 years in a row, which we never do 2 years in a row. We go someplace different, us.
Yes.
Our foray into this was, we stayed on the island of Nevis, which is one of my favorite islands in the world. We stayed.
You have a cat named Nevis.
We have a cat named Nevis. I do, and she is named for the island of Nevis. she, yeah, she got her name from that. We started there, and we started at the Four Seasons in Nevis. And the reason we picked that and did that destination was because they had a kids club, because Julian's an only child and we didn't travel with a nanny. So in order to get that parent time, face it, we all need parent time. So in order to get that parent time, and also to get him the social interaction. And that's kind of the fun thing too about the kids clubs, is they meet, especially as they get older and can correspond, they meet kids from all over the country or world for that matter.
That's pretty awesome, because not everyone can say like, oh, I met friends from Norway, I met friends from St. Thomas, I met friends from, like, you have that whole cultural aspect as well. It's not just, oh yeah, we went on a family vacation to like Arkansas.
I
Yeah.
think one of the things that
Nothing against
really,
Arkansas.
no, yeah, better disclaimer, anybody from Arkansas, sorry.
Yes.
I think one of the kind of hit you in the face or aha moments was Julian used to get this magazine called Faces. And I think it's a National Geographic thing. We just found some in his room when we were cleaning his room, as a matter of fact. And it was Faces, and I think there was some other magazine that he got. And I will never, ever forget, I can't tell you like date and time, but I will never forget when I went to the mailbox and I pulled out his Faces, and it must have been about places that time or something. And the cover of it talked about, he goes, I've been there. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't know whether the cover was the Louvre or in Paris or what it was. And then when he got to the section of the magazine about these different places, he was like, I've been there. And that was Peterov's Parks and Fountains outside of St. Petersburg, Russia. So it was places from all over the world. And he kept going, I've been there. We've been there.
Been there, done that.
So, and I mean, that kind of leads into to people that don't want to travel with kids that are younger. Oh, they'll never remember it. Yeah, they do. They really do. It may not be specific things like maybe he didn't get the name right, that it was Peterov's Parks and Fountains, but he knew and saw, I've been there, when he opened a magazine. So.
And you know what? And to go back to your point too about posting on Facebook and like timeline, chronological, memories and stuff like that, I've found lately in the last probably 4 years that I've really kind of gotten away from posting like majority of my personal things on Facebook, just because I am a business owner. So like, if it doesn't necessarily pertain to my business, I'm really not kind of flashing it out there. But as we know, when we go through our phones and we have 800 of them, like, all those pictures live on those phones. And when you get a new phone, all those pictures go away if you're not uploading them or anything like that. So I know personally, I'm super guilty of like not transitioning the photos on my phone that I take in the moment to another outlet. And so you're losing those memories. It's not like those old like toss away cameras where you like take the picture and get the prints. And we're not carrying around digital cameras anymore. It's all on our phones. So I think too, for me, when I think about my family or think about trips and vacations and memories, I'm tossing those phones every 2-3 years, and I'm losing all those memories from the last 2-3 years because I'm not uploading them to Facebook, and I'm not able to like, oh man, this time 2 years ago, we were blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I love that aspect of social media. That you've probably, well, I know you follow along, but I think as long as I've been doing this, I've kind of struggled with, I'm going to advertising, because I'm not for everybody. I'm just not. I'm not for
Me either, girl.
So I think one of the things that was a recent aha, that why I didn't think of this sooner. Remember that time, that advertising I've been doing with all my posts that are on Facebook and on Instagram is, and we do this at home. Why I didn't think of it sooner, I don't get, because we do this all the time when we're a family, and House Hunters International will come on, right? And we'll be like, oh, let's watch Barcelona. And then it'll be, do you remember that time So that all of a sudden, I've been going during the whole, I guess it was a little before COVID set in and things kind of, changed, but all of a sudden it became, this is what's important is, do you remember that time? And it's hilarious stuff. Like the one I posted when we were in Corsica, and we will never forget standing there laughing so hard when this little kid went sliding down this monument to Napoleon, because that's where he was born. And he was, his dad picked him up and his bare butt was showing through his shorts because he went down granite or whatever it was, and it wore away everything through his underwear, everything. And his dad was like, but we have so many of those. And I think that's the other thing is, I want to share that with families too. It's like, who thinks of something funny where a kid wears away his shorts sliding down a monument to Napoleon? It's like,
that's pretty impressive.
So many things. There's so many things. We talk about we went to, in Corsica, we went to a tortoise farm, and we still talk about a tortoise farm where this tortoise could not get this apple with his beak, and he like pushed it all the way to a fence until he could get a hold of this apple. To this day, and I thought about this today.
Harper just brought me some lilacs, or
flowers.
What are these called?
Hyacinthia, hyacinths?
Hyacinth.
I don't know.
We'll go with that.
Our very, very first Disney cruise, Julian was not quite 5, maybe, or he was just about 5 or 5, maybe 6. I don't know, he was little. And the very first time we went to Castaway Cay, we did what's called Stingray Adventure, Ray's Stingray Adventure. And one of the things they teach you, they remove the barbs from these stingrays, and they're trained and they swim up on this thing, and you hold your fingers up with this blob of stuff they like to eat, and they are like a little vacuum cleaner, and they suck it off your finger. After I freaked out. But they teach you when you go off and you can swim among or play among the rays, is to do the ray shuffle, as they call it, where you slide your feet because you don't want to step on them.
Right. You can so they don't.
Yeah. Right, you just slide. So to this day, we use the Ray shuffle. If you're shuffling through the kitchen while you're trying to feed 8 cats, you don't want to lift your feet up because you'll step on a tail or a paw or something. So for like 15 years, we have done the Ray shuffle. If we have kittens or a statement will come out of, hey, somebody needs to do the Ray shuffle. Don't step on them, So there's just so many things that,
I love it.
Vacations can bring families together on,
So I know there's going to be a lot of them, but if there's one thing that you would say that you love the most about your job, because we know it's not a job, it's a passion.
No, it's a passion.
Tell me one thing that you love most about your passion.
Very easy for me, actually. The number one thing I love doing is making sure that my clients get the best value for their hard-earned dollars. Hands down, that's what I love to do. It's not necessarily going to be the cheapest, okay? It's going to be the best value. So for every dollar you spend, you're going to get the most value on that vacation that you choose to book, whether it's my friends booking a honeymoon in an all-inclusive in Mexico, whether it's my family in I have more clients in California. It's really funny. Whether it's one of my families in California who are going to beaches for their family, and making sure that, okay, if we spend just a little bit more, you get this much more.
Well, yeah, the reward for the dollar amount.
Right. So that by far is what I get the most reward out of is
Harper's trying to feed me an ice cream float with chocolate ice cream and orange soda.
Oh, there you go. That'll get you going.
Oh, thanks. It's delicious, she gives.
Yeah. So it's honestly getting the best value. And the other thing I love doing, even though it winds up costing me money, like I'll give you an example. I don't want to use names, but somebody that's your client, I'm sorry, what do you call them? You don't call them
Yes.
clients. You call them guests. One of your guests that I believe I referred to you possibly. And one of my friends who's also a cruise client, I have been stalking pricing with the whole COVID thing going on, because her cruise is scheduled for a little later in the summer. She had booked a 1-bedroom cabin for her family, and I kept stalking. I actually got her a 2-bedroom for slightly less than her 1-bedroom.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and at the time of me booking it, or what I did, I wind up losing money. I don't care. I really don't care. I get more from going, I just got you a 2-bedroom for less than what you paid for your 1-bedroom. So,
And as a consumer, because I can speak from experience, because I know you work your butt off, because you've done it, I don't know how many times for myself, whether I'm just in a stupor query, or if I'm booking something or modifying something or whatever it ends up being. So, I can speak to that, where what you're doing for your particular guest in the moment of their reservation versus the value to dollar ratio, like, it's incomparable, like, it really means a lot to me, not only as a friend and a business associate, if you will, but also as a consumer. If I didn't do your hair, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're, you're like, oh shoot, she really thinks about me, or she really cares about me, or is concerned about my, budget. Or if I say, hey, Steph, I have a budget of X, what can we do with it? You're
yeah.
not just like, good luck to you.
Yeah.
You're like, well, we could do X, Y, and Z, or we could do A, B, C, F, like, there's
Yeah.
so many
And I will tell you, I am honest to the point though, is if you give me a budget of something and it's not realistic and there's nothing I can do on a budget, I will tell you as well that
You told me.
I did. Yeah. I did give you the, I love you. No, sister.
2 months
I
of
can't
hard
do it.
work, and you're like, you know what? Not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. Yeah. Yeah. So that one question is very easy for me, because I think that comes from, I do for my clients what I would expect somebody to do for me. It's kind of the golden rule, almost to, I mean, I do it with you. Okay, so this is what I have. What can I do? And I usually leave it to you. It's kind of like, here's what I have. What should I do? And that's the relationship that I pride myself on with my clients is, more or less, you give me a budget. Sometimes with the cruising, like, people will go, okay, this is what we want to do. What's it going to cost type thing.
Sure.
So it kind of works. But I mean, it's kind of, to me, the biggest compliment anybody can give me is trusting me. So it's like what I trust you. It's like, okay, so I may not have a lot of money this time when I come to get my haircut. What can I do for the amount of money I have? How can I get the best value? Right? What's going to give me the base bang for my buck? That's what I want to do for my customers as well.
And we love it and appreciate it. I can tell you that for sure. So then, would you say that there is also one favorite place that you either prefer to go to throughout the year, and or maybe you've only been there once, but you're like, I know this is where we need to go for X amount of time from now on?
Wow. Okay, so I guess I can answer that. In the past, I probably couldn't have, because as I stated earlier, and we stumbled upon this place because January a year ago. So it had been like January or February, something like that, of 2019. We were trying to figure out summer for 2019. Mm-hmm. And as I'm sure most families do, you sit around, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And so my husband and I were sitting in the living room, and we started, and he's bringing up various places, and I'm going, I know, first world problems, right? So he kept bringing up places and I kept going, well, we've been there. And that seems to come out of my, oh, we've been there. So he goes, you want to go somewhere new? And I'm like, yeah. So he goes, how about Costa Rica? I was like, okay, let's do it. Well, within 2 hours, we had the whole thing planned. So fast forward, we had Julian's senior trip all planned out. It was to Asia. Yeah, well, that's not happening. Yeah, that would be a, So plan B, wah, wah, wah. Plan B, we looked at each other and said, I know what I want to do. Go back to Costa Rica. And I think one of the revelations about Costa Rica, and we stood amongst the jungle as we were looking at monkeys in the tree or yelling off the back thing to the howler monkeys at 5 o'clock in the morning or looking at iguanas. Or it became a realization to us that after all these years of traveling all over the world, 30 plus countries, and all the architecture and all the everything, the cathedrals, you name it, everything we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first trip we've ever taken that every single thing that we went or did this was nature. Now, let's not stretch that this was some nature crunchy thing. We stayed in a gorgeous hotel with a cabana and a pool and, a pool boy and, not
all the amenities.
All the amenities, but to stand on your balcony in the morning and watch a colony of 50 Cody's go walking by, come here. And I had the first hotel we were at, I had my iguana was in the tree. I think I called him Fred. I'm like, oh, Fred's here this morning, and we would go walking around the property and I'm telling you, the same damn iguanas were in the same damn rock every time we took, that was their rock. That was like Joe's rock, man.
This is my land.
This is my land. So I think we were so in awe of nature that when our plans fell apart, which was devastating for us, and others are all having the same issue, you got screwed too. But that is turning into one of my places that I absolutely love is Costa Rica.
We were there, we stayed in San Jose, is it?
Yeah, that's across.
Capital?
Yeah.
So we stayed in San Jose. We went to the Arenal volcano and the hot springs and all of that. Amazing. Like just the countryside is so vastly different from where you're at. So I really enjoy that and respect that, because US is the same way, you know what I mean? Like you go down south, it's flat. You go up north, it's mountainous. There's so many different things. So it speaks to the same volume, but just different climate, different nature, different creatures, different, plants, trees, people. So
and there's such a warm, the people of Costa Rica are so warm and they're so loving and they're so appreciative of you being there and they want to share what they have. And it's pretty cool.
I agree.
Pretty cool. So
is there anything that you wanted to make sure that you were able to share before we end our podcast number 3?
Yep. I think it's one of those things that COVID has destroyed so many vacations for people. It honestly, as you, has decimated my business. There's literally 0 income coming in. Everybody has either canceled or the cruise lines or the vacation spots or whatever have canceled the people's vacation. I was lucky enough that a lot of the cruise lines protected some of our commissions.
Yeah.
But nobody's rebooking. So because nobody's rebooking, again, I have no income.
The minute you get the green flag.
I understand. That was not directed at you in any way, shape, or form. And it's not directed at any of my clients because I totally get it, right? I totally get this. I think if I could get anything across, it's to the people, like my clients are loyal to me. I love my clients as friends as they are as loyal as the day is long. So my established clients, I know as soon as everything gets to a point where people can book, and whether, like I said, whether it's sandals, whether it's beaches, whether it's an all-inclusive in Mexico, which I'm finding I love to book too. Cruises is obviously next to my heart, Disney, whatever it is. For all of those people that have used this, well, I don't really need a travel agent. I can do this myself. Yes, you can do it yourself. But as we come out of this horrendous time that we're in, throw a travel agent a bone. Doesn't have to be me. One of your other friends could, whoever's watching this, could be a travel agent. Anything helps us at this point.
For sure. And I know we've been like promoting that too with our different podcasts and our different live videos and stuff like that. I want to be able to provide you with as much knowledge as possible. And whether you're a guest of Revolt Hair Studio or not, it doesn't matter. I want to make sure that you know, and you know, and you know, and you know. And you don't have to be ours. You can be anybody's. But just being able to support someone else who might need a tiny bit more than you in this particular time frame, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and it's like, I know that there are people that are on my friends list on Facebook that book their own cruises, and they book their own vacations, and they book their own all-inclusives. And yes, you're capable of doing that, but I've also had people tell me that, oh, we really didn't like that. Well, and a lot of times now too, those people that booked everything themselves, they've had to spend hours on the phone trying to get a hold of the vendors to either get the refund. I'll use you as an example. Norwegian canceled your cruise. You didn't have to do anything. I took care of everything. So now, more time than ever of let us do our jobs that we're good at. And yeah, you can do it on your own. And I know you people, I know there are people that love to plan their own vacations. Throw us a bone. You may already figure out what you want, but throw us a bone. Say, hey, we're going to book this cruise. You don't have to do anything I'd rather do it myself. And I have clients like that, to be honest with you. I have clients that love the aspect of planning, but they love me, so they give me the booking and then they go off and do their thing. I have other clients that I do everything for. It all depends on what they want. But that's the thing I need to get across to people is, yeah, you can book it on your own, even if you're booking, say, directly with NCL, if you're booking directly with Disney Cruise Line, or you're booking directly with Disney World, whatever the case may be, Sandals, beaches, whatever. Throw a travel agent a bone, because it doesn't cost you, the consumer, a dime more. In fact, we can probably find you, yeah, and it's not that we're getting anything discounted. Like, we don't get discounts. I don't get a deal for anybody. Like, there's no difference between, but what I get you is the best value. So you may know the cruise you want, but let somebody book it who's trying to earn a living doing that. So that's really like my biggest thing, is that's been kind of bugging me. It's like, I know there's a whole bunch of people on my Facebook page, and I know they book their stuff on their own. Throw us a bone, man. If you're booking again or you're doing something else, give us a chance, because we got nothing. We have nothing.
Yeah.
So,
girl, we are in the same boat.
Yeah, we are.
If I owned an artificial hair color company right now in grocery stores,
yeah, my Facebook feed is full of that stuff. It's like, why would I color my own hair? Oh my God, My husband looks like a Wookiee, but hey.
My roots are like 6 months old, quite literally. That's the last time I lightened my hair.
See, I happen to be smart, and I happen to come in the day before all this shit shut down. So I'm still looking fine, sister. That's because I have a really good hairstylist. So
thank you.
Yes. I have a master. So you can't really tell it with the lighting, but
we look fab no matter what.
Well, have I cut my ears out? Yeah, I fess up. I cut my ears out. And I did a little trimmy on my bang, but I didn't do anything harsh. So
just a pinch. We're doing live tomorrow at 5:00 p.m. I'm giving Dusty a shape up. So if you need help with Mike's hair, be sure to tune in at 5:00 tomorrow.
He won't let me touch him. Julian's got a
Anyone
whole
else?
new hairstyle, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure he's gonna do that to get
Yep,
it.
pretty much. He's gonna go back to 2013 where he had long hair soon. But but see, here's my point though. Anybody who isn't a Revolt customer, you should be a Revolt customer for the very reason that even if you're stuck in a pandemic and you can't go, if you have a really good haircut to start, it grows out just fine. Okay, so Julian's hair may be long, but because it's well cut, it's just growing out. Same with me.
Thanks.
I'm a little longer.
Thank you.
So I'd like to
Appreciate
make
it.
that point because it's true. Because I know people are whining and crying, and I'm like, I think I'm still looking pretty shiny. You know, that's because I had a good haircut to start. It's just a slightly different style than when I started.
Just a wee bit longer.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. So.
Perfect.
And I, of course, have all my good Surface products. So
Even better.
yeah, even better. I've got my good shampoos and my, so.
All the juicy bits.
All the juicy bits, my friend.
Steph, tell us how we can find you.
Probably the easiest way to find me if you're on Facebook is, even though I do work for a company, I'm an independent agent, I work for a company called Magical World Vacations, but everybody knows me as the Trip Imagineer. So it's just something I had to pick a title way back when. We started this conversation of how I got started way back when. I'm like, well, what do you want as a title on your business card? Well, what am I? Well, I'm a Trip Imagineer. So you can find me on Facebook at the Trip Imagineer. And probably one of the easiest ways to get a hold of me is it's just Steph, S-T-E-P-H, at thetripimagineer.com. On Instagram, if you're looking for me, I don't discern between a personal IG and a business one. It's just too hard to match. So if you're looking for me, I'm just Steph K. Skilton. You'll find me posting there as well on Instagram.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate your time this evening. And
I appreciate the interaction. I like the interaction. It's almost like we're together.
I know. Virtual cheers. Mine's gone.
Yeah, I know. Tink. When I was watching, I have to share that when I was watching what you did, I think it was Chris's, your first podcast, that's what I miss the most is hugs.
Literally.
Miss the hugs.
Oh. It's bedtime. They're going to say goodnight.
Oh, good night, girl. Good night. I see you. All right. Thank you, my friend, for having me. It's a privilege.
Thank you so much. We love you, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Get out.